The rain poured relentlessly, hammering against the windows of the dimly lit room. The only light came from the flickering television screen. Emily sat on the couch, eyes glued to the screen as the news anchor recounted an unsettling story. Reports have been pouring in from various locations about strange, unexplained phenomena. People are disappearing without a trace. No evidence. No clues. Just vanishing into thin air. The anchor's voice trembled, but he quickly regained his composure. Authorities are calling it the Disappearance Event. Emily's heart skipped a beat. She knew something was wrong. It wasn't just a random occurrence. It felt personal. She thought back to the strange incident that had happened just a few days ago. Her husband, Jake, had left for a business trip, but when he returned, something about him was different. Cold, distant, like he wasn't really Jake at all. Suddenly, Emily heard a faint tapping sound. It came from the door. Tap, tap, tap. Her heart raced as she crept toward the door. As she reached for the doorknob, the tapping stopped abruptly. A chill ran down her spine. She opened the door slowly to find no one there, just the dark, empty hallway. But there was something on the ground. A crumpled piece of paper. With trembling hands, she picked it up. The handwriting was frantic. Jake isn't Jake. Don't trust him. It's not over. The message made her blood run cold. Jake had been acting strangely, but why would someone leave this note? Emily felt a gnawing dread but couldn't ignore the warning. She tried calling Jake, but the line was dead. Panicking, she decided to confront him. The drive to his office felt endless. Thoughts swirled in her mind as she sped down empty streets. When she arrived, the building was eerily silent. The lights were off, and the door was ajar. Emily hesitated. Something wasn't right, but she had to know the truth. Taking a deep breath, she stepped inside. The air was thick, stifling. It smelled of old paper and something sinister. "Jake," she called, but there was no answer. Silence pressed down on her. She continued walking, her steps growing heavier with each passing moment. A soft sound, like a whisper followed by a scraping noise. It came from the back of the building. Emily froze. It was coming from the storage room. Slowly, she moved toward the door, heart pounding. As she reached for the handle, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced at it. It was a message from Jake.
Come on.
"It's too late for you." The words sent a chill through her. Was Jake trying to warn her? Or was he part of something darker? Emily pushed open the storage room door. The room was empty except for an unsettling symbol scratched into the wall. It looked arcane, as if something had been etched into it with great force. The longer she stared at it, the more it seemed to move, twisting and writhing before her eyes. The room suddenly felt colder, and her phone buzzed again. She jumped and looked at the screen. "Don't trust what you see," it read. The message was cryptic, but the terror in her gut told her it was important. Was Jake really Jake? As Emily turned around, she felt something shift in the air behind her. The hair on the back of her neck stood up. Slowly, she turned. Jake was standing there, his face cold and empty. His eyes were hollow, devoid of warmth. "Emily," he said, his voice too calm, too strange. "You shouldn't have come here." Emily's heart pounded. "What's happening, Jake? Who are you?" Before she could react, the lights flickered and went out. The room plunged into darkness. Panic surged through her as she fumbled for her phone. But it was useless. She couldn't see anything. Only the sound of labored breathing filled the room. Slow, deep, and definitely not hers. The whispers began. Low at first, then louder, growing more sinister. "It's too late." Her heart raced as she spun around, trying to make sense of the darkness. Her mind screamed for answers, but the answers only brought more fear. Something was in the room with her. Jake's voice returned, mocking, twisted. "You thought you could escape?" The whispers, the laughter, the suffocating darkness. Everything seemed to close in on her. She could feel a presence, something watching her from the shadows, drawing closer with every passing second. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. The darkness was too heavy, too thick. She couldn't breathe. The whispers were now all around her, blending with Jake's voice until they merged into one terrifying sound. As the cold enveloped her, Emily realized the horrible truth. She was no longer alone. Whatever had taken Jake had now taken her, too. And then, the whisper came again, chilling her to the bone. The disappearance event is just beginning. Everything went black.